So there's a person on Instagram that I just recently followed, and I'd heard of her. It's Sarah On, and Sarah is famous because she's a cook and a author, and is famous for cooking with her Korean mom. Sarah's Korean herself, and she came out with a new book, Cooking with Uma, and Sarah's account is Honest Kitchen, AHNEST Kitchen. Very catchy, Sarah On. What I didn't know about Sarah, and I think this is actually absolutely lovely that she cooks with her mom and embraces that her culture and tries to capture that so she can remember it and, more importantly, share it with others. But what I did not know until I think literally yesterday was I saw a post about Sarah sharing what her mom, the lunch her mom would make for her father every day at 4:30 a.m. Her father is a blue-collar worker, an exterior painter, and I think they live in California, somewhere it's warm. And that post resonated with me because it reminded me of when my father is a blue-collar worker, I myself am a blue-collar worker, and it reminded me of every morning. My father's a machinist during the day, and he had a gazillion side hustles at night, being a plumber, doing anything he could, mostly plumbing, and in Chinese restaurants all over Washington, D.C. But it reminded me of, you keep in mind, Sarah's mom's lunches were amazing for her father. Like, you have to watch the post if you like food, because it is this incredible smorgasbord of food that you can't believe when she shows images and videos of her father, like that little guy can eat. And like, I should be saying that because how much I can eat. But it just struck me because the video went on and on and on. But it was just celebrating. It reminded me of when my mom would wake up. My dad would leave the house by 6:30. My mom would wake up 5:45, start my dad's breakfast, which was always, every single day in my life, I never saw my father eat anything else other than oatmeal for breakfast. And while she was preparing that, she would be preparing his lunch that he would bring to his job as a machinist, and every day. So that went on for 5 days of the week, and then my dad would work on Saturday and Sunday. My dad worked 7 days a week, and between leave the house at 6:30 and would not get home usually until about 9 o'clock. No joke. But that post of Sarah's, it just reminded me of that schedule my mom would have, and doing that for my father. And then this morning I saw a post, I think it's one of her most recent ones. It was about what it's like to be a Korean in America, or just a Korean in general, and what it's like to be a Korean blue-collar worker. It's frowned upon. And it's not just being Korean. It's frowned upon in, I think, almost all Asian cultures, especially immigrants to the United States, because here's the rub. There's this idea that in order to be successful, you have to wear a shirt and a tie, and that's the only way you're gonna make any money. And that was, I'm sure that transcends not only Asian culture, but all kinds of other cultures that have means of moving up in society. And I remember the shame it felt to be a blue-collar worker and an Asian. And here's the thing, Sarah's latest post was about this conversation she overheard while her parents were sitting in her kitchen while she was in elementary school, and her parents didn't know she was hanging outside the kitchen. And it was a story that her father was recounting. He was working, and he had heard a mom tell her son, I'm guessing son, this, and pointing to Mr. An, this is why you need to go to school, so you don't have to work like this poor schlub, I'm assuming. And Sarah recounts in her post, like, she was confused because she didn't understand why there would be any shame of what her father does. And she even mentions in the post that she could hear and feel the silence in the room of the shame hanging over her parents. And Sarah celebrates the fact that her father is a blue-collar worker. She comes from a blue-collar family, and I was actually thinking of this recently. So this is all like serendipitous, because I'm thinking of my son who's graduating in a few short weeks, and from college, and he is on his way to the life and dreams he's had. And I was just thinking of like what helped him get to where he is now, and to have him be able to realize his dreams at such a young age. And I thought about it was the work ethic that was imparted on him from being the son of a blue-collar worker and the grandson of a blue-collar worker. And going back to Sarah's story of that shame, I specifically, and this morning, this reminded me of this, and this is why I'm making this video, is I remember sitting in the kitchen with my mom, and when I had dropped out of high school, I went to a year and a half of community college, and I just realized school wasn't for me. And that's when I took a job opportunity that my father set up to become a helper, not even an apprentice, a helper. So the tier in a trade is, in this particular case, air conditioning, heating, HVAC, is a helper, which is basically a guy that sweeps the floors and hands tools to someone. Then an apprentice, someone who is actively learning. Then a journeyman, who is an advanced apprentice, and then you become a master. And my dad got me a job as a helper. I'm pretty sure that I was paid $4.25 an hour. This is 1990. And anyway, I decided I'm going to take my dad up on this offer. But keep in mind, my mom's always subtly pointed out that what my dad does, and she describes it in Cantonese as cholo, wearing dirty clothes, dirty work clothes, or wearing work clothes. It's frowned upon. And I remember telling my mom, I'm gonna take the job offer that Dad can set up for me. And I remember her sense of disappointment, because she always wanted her son to wear a tie to go to work, because she thought that what her father did, my father did, her husband did, wasn't worthy. And that it was a means to an end, but it wasn't something to be celebrated. And I remember that shame. I love my mom, but like I remember that shame, but it was just something like I need to try this, Mom. And thank goodness I did that. It was, in hindsight, one of the top decisions I ever made in my life that at the time seemed like a bad decision. Turns out to be the greatest decision I ever made, because ultimately it gave me a life and a lifestyle that I never dreamed I would have had. And I remember the time after my dad had passed, my mom moved into her apartment, and I had achieved a financial goal that I never thought was going to be possible, and I was financially secure for the rest of my life. And I remember sitting with my mom and telling her, like, Mom, it came up in conversation, like, Mom, you remember how you told me, like, you need to wear a suit and tie, Will, and otherwise you won't be financially secure and everything. It's like, Mom, it's not true. I did it. I'm doing better than I could have possibly ever done had I wore that suit and tie. And I frankly don't work that hard anymore. And my mom was never worried about me, but but it was a moment where I reassured my mom, like, that this notion of wearing a suit and tie makes you a better person wasn't true. And I proved that wrong. I proved that incorrect, and I'm proud to have done that. And so the message here is, be like me, be like Sarah. Embrace your blue collar work, your blue collar roots, because the benefit is it gives you this amazing sense of work ethic, of being able to use your mind and your hands at the same time, get fresh air, or dirty air sometimes, but you can get out of fresh air. But it's just given me, in my particular case, opportunities that I would have never had in life. And here's the sad part. The sad part and the silver lining of being a blue-collar worker is the irony is, at this very moment in 2025, on the very, very short list of jobs that cannot be replaced by AI, trade jobs is at one of the top of those. AI is not going to fix your clogged toilet. AI is not going to fix the burst water pipe. AI is not going to fix your air conditioning that you desperately need because of global warming in the middle of summer. It ain't going to do it. Sorry. It's not going to replace your AC system. It's not going to give you heat when it's 10 degrees outside, and it's going to be 10 degrees outside for the next week. But the problem is, that's the silver lining. AI will never replace that. And I can't see any situation in the future where any kind of technology will replace that. Sure, you can simplify things into making units that you can replace into spaces, but you're still going to need, there's still going to be situations where that's just not going to be possible. And so I've got job security for the rest of my foreseeable life. The problem is I don't want to do it anymore, but that's a different story. The downside of that silver lining is no one is going into the trades, and this is ultimately the point of this video. Counted all kinds of reasons, whatever. Most people are exiting the job force either by they're being unfortunately fired for no due cause. They're quietly quitting, or all these other hosts of reasons in society while people aren't working anymore. They're definitely not going into the trades, which boggles my mind. I've been in the trade, like I said, since 1990. It is 2025, 35 years. And I talk to people, other contractors, my suppliers who interface with gazillions of other contractors, and I can see, they tell me, and I can see the workforce, the blue collar workforce, especially in my trade, is contracting, but the demand is going up. It doesn't make any sense, and it's been this way definitely since 2008 and in the last major recession, and it just hasn't recovered, and COVID didn't help, and I don't know why. And what I don't want is, and this is the point of the video, is there's so many opportunities being a blue collar worker, and I hope shame is not one of the things that's keeping people from doing it. Someone with my skill level working for another employer would easily be making over $50 an hour. The last I checked, easily now. So if you're doing that, that's $100,000. And someone with that skill set doesn't have to really work that hard because you're using your mind more than your hands. And that's basically what I do and have done for the last 25 years, is use my mind more than I use my hands. And that's where the top tier guys can do that. The ones that don't have the technical skills don't make as much, but they still make a great living. And I just hope people don't look at blue collar work as something to be ashamed of, because there's just so many opportunities there, and it doesn't seem to be contracting. I don't see it contracting at all. Again, because people are leaving the workforce, just like me. Because in my trade, because I'm getting older and I got other things I want to do, and so please, I need to find someone to take my place, because I love what my trade has, the life my trade has given me, and this is part of my life I don't really share on social media because it's a huge part of my identity. But there's so many other facets to me. But I wanted to make this video because I was really inspired by Sarah's videos, and I'll link to some of them if possible in the notes. But yeah, but don't hate on blue collar jobs, because like I told my mom, it's given me a life I never, ever dreamed I could have ever had. And it's allowed me to do all the crazy things, all the amazing things that I share more on social media. Being able to be a world-class athlete, being able to be on one of the most popular reality TV shows in the world multiple times, and all of this late in life, but more importantly, it happened late in life because I was building up a situation where I could do these things, and the trades, being a blue-collar worker, allowed me to do that. Thanks for watching.